Tonight's guest speaker, I am really excited to hear from. Her name is Claire O'Connell, and she is the head of sales of Facebook New Zealand. And you know, there's the first thing. Who knew there were sales with Facebook? I just thought it was about photos. Claire has started work in social media in 2006. She has worked for MySpace, she's worked for Bebo, she's worked in Sydney, she's worked in London, and for Facebook in London. And she returned to New Zealand, yay, bringing back the talent, returned to New Zealand in February this year to be head of sales for Facebook. Tonight she is going to give us some insight into it, and more importantly, as SME and business owners, to give us some tips and some tricks on how we might be using Facebook better to promote our businesses. So please, everybody, very warm welcome to Claire O'Connell.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I must say that this is the first talk I've ever done where they've let me at the bar before I've spoken, so hopefully that goes okay. It's really exciting to be here tonight to speak to SMBs because obviously you're a really core part of our business. And I've been really lucky over the years, or I've had a really interesting seat at this social media evolution or revolution, being that I joined in 2006. And I joined completely accidentally. I was working for News Limited, selling advertising for their sort of news and magazine sites. And Rupert Murdoch had just bought MySpace, and he brought it over to Australia as an advertising platform, and they made me join MySpace. And I was gutted. I was like, cringe, I've got to put an online profile of myself. That's so embarrassing. This social networking thing is never going to take off. And I'm not wrong about many things, but I'm very happy to say that I am extremely wrong about this. So on Facebook today, we've got 1.15 billion active monthly users. These are actually old numbers, they're from June. Our third quarter financial results are coming out tomorrow, so they'll be updated then, but this is our sort of public number. So that's 700 million people a day. That's 10% of the globe are using Facebook every single day. And what blows my mind about that isn't so much just the sheer volume of people who are using Facebook, but it's the technological challenge that presents our engineers. It's absolutely fascinating to hear them talk about it, because it's not just one website with one set of content that everybody's logging into and seeing the same thing. It's 700 million individual newsfeed pieces of content which are updated every second and judging what kind of content is the most relevant to that particular person. So we've got data centres the sizes of multi-football fields in the States and also in Sweden, processing heaps of data the whole time. So there's about 350 million photos uploaded a day to Facebook, and this weekend, which is just after Halloween, that will go to 1 billion photos a day. So if anyone has any relevant type of businesses where you could do like a Halloween photo competition on Facebook, it's a really good time to sort of try and action that this weekend, because we love to dress up and we like to share photos of ourselves dressing up as well. So in New Zealand, these numbers are just as impressive. We've got 2.4 million active users in New Zealand, 1.7 million a day, so about 39% of our entire population is logging into Facebook every day. We're a really engaged audience. We've actually got a higher percentage of our population than most people, most other countries, except for Australia. But we spend longer on Facebook than Australia. So on average, we spend about 10.5 hours a month. So if you think about that as an average, you've got some people who log in once a month, and you've got some people who are spending over 100 hours a month on Facebook. So we are very social people. One interesting thing that I find quite interesting about Facebook New Zealand is we get to see Facebook behaviours, and we get to index ourselves against other countries around the world. And if you look at New Zealanders' usage of Facebook compared to the rest of the globe, you can see that we're really social. We like to like and we like to comment on each other's things. We like to sort of engage with people. We upload a lot of photos. We upload a lot of baby photos and a lot of scenic photos. A lot of photos of food, which not as much as America. They upload a lot more photos of food. But we really under-index in status updates. So I think that's quite a reflection of our psyche, that we're quite social, but we don't like to shout about things that we're doing ourselves. So just a little interesting side note there. So social media's brought about a really interesting time for SMB marketers, because it's really leveled the playing field in some respect. And I'll explain to you why. So in the 1950s, TV overtook radio as the most time spent with any media. So people would come home, they'd sit around the TV, they'd watch telly all together, and prime time was born. Between 6 and 9 p.m, everyone was watching TV. So in order to play in this prime time, you needed huge budgets. You needed huge creative budgets, and you also needed huge media budgets to reach these types of people. So it was really reserved, prime time was really reserved for the big boys. Now what's happened very recently, like only a couple of months ago, for the first time another media has overtaken TV as the time that people spend most time with, and that's online. And that's mainly been driven by mobile. So we spend more time on mobile web than we do on desktop web. People have their mobiles with them 2 hours, for all but 2 hours of their waking day. And if you believe a recent study published in the Daily Mail, on average we check our mobiles 100 times a day and up to 900 times a day. And the time when we're most checking our mobile is prime time. It's between 6 and 9 p.m. at evening. So this is a photo that I really like that demonstrates how quick this move to mobile has been. And this was the Pope's, sorry for those people over there who can't see it. This is the Pope's inauguration in 2005 for Pope Benedict. 8 years later, same scene. This is the Pope's inauguration for Pope Francis. So it just shows how quickly this switch to mobile is happening. 88% of New Zealanders between 25 to 49 check Facebook while they're watching TV, and the main reason they check Facebook is to avoid the TV ads. So as a small to medium-sized business, you've got a really, really good opportunity to get your brand in front of people while they're watching TV, while they're checking Facebook, and poor old Coke is going to pay millions and lose those eyeballs. 1 in 5 minutes spent on mobile web is spent on Facebook. So Facebook dominates all time spent on mobile. So it's a really, really great opportunity for small to medium businesses to use that medium to get in front of their right type of audience. So the other reason why Facebook is a great way for small to medium businesses is because we've got really, really accurate targeting. So when you generally buy media, you buy TV, you buy press, there's a huge amount of wastage. You hope that you're hitting your right type of audience, but you're not 100% sure in general. Because we have real identities, and on Facebook you're your real self, and you're connected to your real family and friends, and you also connect to all the things that you're interested in and all the things that you care about. We've got some really rich data that allows you to reach the right type of audience. So for example, I saw a couple of beauty brands out the back there. We've got 110,000 females in Auckland who are interested in beauty products. Maybe you wanted to send your product overseas and export to Australia, then you've got 1.186 million females in Australia where you can try and send your beauty products for. Actually, Facebook targeting is used a lot for businesses in New Zealand who are trying to find a market overseas. New Zealand's quite a small market. We quite often have to look overseas. And it's so easy. You can go onto the self-serve platform yourself, type in your target country, and target the right type of audience there. Education New Zealand use that a lot to attract students to come over to New Zealand. I also saw a lot of business-to-business companies back there. We have got 114,000 small businesses identified on Facebook. And we can identify those people because they're using Facebook pages and they're running advertisements to promote their own business. I also saw some dating companies out the back there. You can target single people on Facebook. I haven't got the numbers here, but there's quite a lot of them, and usually if you list on your profile that you're single, you really want to find somebody else. The other really interesting thing about this Facebook targeting isn't just about growing your business and finding the right types of customers, but you can be really relevant with your advertising. So for the case of the dating, you'd probably want to target the men with a photo of a good-looking woman, and the females with a targeted photo of a good-looking guy. So you can be really relevant with your messaging and your creative to make sure that that message that you're sending your target audience is really resonating. Who else? I saw paintball. Target guys who like paintball and adventure type activities, and probably most men. And also anti-aging. I don't think you even need to go into likes and interests there. It's just about any female over the age of about 30 would be interested in that. But there's some really detailed targeting in there. Like if you've got a computer repair store, you can target people who are using old computers, because we know that when you're on Facebook, we can tell what type of operating system you're using, and we can tell if you're using a really old computer. You can target technology early adopters, because Facebook is one of the very first things that people download on their phone. We monitor all of the big technology launches like the iPhones and the Androids, and we know that if you switch within the first 30 days, you're most likely to be somebody who's really interested in new technologies. So we've got a category in there for you to target as well. So pinpoint targeting allows you to grow your business, find the right customers, and really cost efficiently as well, because there's no wastage for you. So the third real advantage about social media marketing, why it's really effective for all businesses, is word of mouth. So we all know that word of mouth is the most effective form of targeting. And Nielsen publishes study every couple of years about trust in advertising and how do people feel about advertising, and consistently trust in traditional forms of advertising is going down, so your TV advertising and your print advertising. Trust in word of mouth is going up. This stat always amuses me somewhat, because it means that there's 8% of people out there who have got rubbish friends and family that they don't trust, but still it's at 92%, it's a pretty high level. So one of the really unique advantages that we have at Facebook, which you don't get with hardly any other media, is that you are connected to your friends and family. So in Facebook there in New Zealand, the average person has 250 friends. That grows the younger you go, and the older you go, it generally goes down. But on average, we've got 250 friends on Facebook. So there's a few people there going, we don't have that many. So for every fan that you get on your page, or every person who connects to your business, you have the potential to reach 250 other people within New Zealand who are hopefully going to be talking positive things about your business. We've also made it really easy for advertisers to really amplify this word of mouth. So whenever you run an advertising campaign, you're targeting your target audience. Any person who sees that ad, who also has a friend who is connected to your page, will see their friend's name in that advertising, and we just call that social advertising. And it works wonders. So we've done a lot of work around that into how that makes advertising more effective. And because you see a brand that's endorsed by your friend, you are twice as likely to recall that advertising. You're 160% more likely to associate the right type of message with that brand or business, and you're up to 4 times more likely to want to purchase that business or to want to discover more about this business. So word of mouth marketing, even though it's not the same as sitting down and having a conversation and a really strong endorsement, on Facebook, that power of word of mouth makes for much more effective marketing. The other thing, of course, is that it's relatively cheap. So in your goodie bags here, I hope you've all picked one up. You'll find a piece of paper with a code for $50 of Facebook marketing, Facebook ad money in there, and you'll also find some instructions about how to use it. And for $50, you should be able to reach about 20 or 30,000 people within your target audience. Dave at the bar told me before I should have bought Whittaker's chocolate, like the Whittaker's guy a couple of weeks ago. He said nobody would be very impressed with advertising money, but I hope you'll like it and make use of it. The other thing is that production budgets are really cheap. You actually don't need any. All you need is good images or good content that you need to share. So it makes actually advertising extremely cheap. You don't need designers or anything if you don't need them. So a really good example of this is actually Pim's. Not a small business at all. They were actually a really big business, but with a really big creative budget cut last year. They basically had no creative budget to run any online advertising. So the marketing team just got really creative, and they just took their phone and took beautiful photos of their product out in the sun, people were enjoying Pim's, and they used Instagram to filter it, and they used that for their entire marketing strategy over the summer. And throughout that campaign, they actually attracted 15,000 new buyers and got a return of 5 to 1 on their advertising media spend. So it just shows that you don't need big creative budgets to really have impact. And imagery on Facebook is the most important thing that you can use in order to engage your customers and to attract new customers. Photos is the #1 activity on Facebook outside of newsfeed. It's what people engage with. So that's what makes it a really easy playing field for SMBs now. You've got great scale, you've got people checking Facebook when they're not on TV, you've got great targeting, and it's also really cost effective. And we're about to make it slightly better. So we've got a couple of new tools coming out which were specifically aimed at the SME market. And the first one is Shutterstock. So I just spoke about the importance of images. Images are really, really important when you're running creative advertising campaigns. And we've just partnered with Shutterstock, which has a library of millions and millions of images, stock images, and they're going to be available within our Ads Create tool for anybody for free. So you no longer need to license Shutterstock images for your creatives. The second thing that we're launching is a really, really interesting proposition, and it's been around for probably about 10 months, but it's mainly been reserved for the bigger businesses because you needed to use special tools for it, and it wasn't available in our public ad serving tool, but it's a tool called Custom Audiences. And what custom audiences do is allow you to find your offline customers on Facebook. So most businesses will have a database of some type. It might be for the dating sites. We've got a database of people who are still looking for love. We've got a database of people who have found love, whatever it is. And custom audiences allows you to take the email address and phone number, or however you've got that database, segment and create your own audiences. Put it into a system, it gets encrypted or hashed or anonymized or whatever, sent to our servers, and we match it with that same data on our servers. So everyone on Facebook has to use an email address or phone number to log in. So we get a really high match rate. So most of the time with customer databases, provided you've got personal email addresses and not business, we get a match rate of around about 80% on average in New Zealand. So it allows you to target your current customers. It allows you to target lapsed customers, so people who signed up to your newsletter but haven't opened it for 6 months. It allows you to send special offers to your customers so you can find them on Facebook and keep them loyal. It also allows you to exclude your current customers. So if you're after a new database and you want people to register or sign up, or you're looking for new customers, you can make sure you're not wasting any of your media money by targeting people who are already in your database. It's a really, really good way to grow the fans on your page, because you're not just sort of trying to find them randomly. You actually know that these people are your customers, they're interested in your business, and they probably want to come to your page to hear from you. The second phase of this, which hasn't launched for SMBs yet, but it's coming, is finding lookalikes. And this is probably the most exciting part of it, because once you've got your database of customers, you really want to grow that and you want to find more people like them. So what we can do is run an algorithm on the users who are in your current customer base. And we look at thousands and thousands of data points like age, gender, location, what type of mobile phone do you use, when are you logging into Facebook, what are your likes and interests, all sorts of things like that. And we find the top 1% of people in New Zealand are most like them, or you can choose the top 5%. So that gives you another potential database of about between 25,000 and 125,000, depending on whether you're going for the really tight match or for the larger match. And that's a really effective tool in finding new customers. So we see the likes of TripAdvisor, Skyscanner, loads of big global advertisers using that, and they've cut their cost per new customer acquisition by about between 50 and 30%. Custom audiences, lookalikes. Yeah, so you've got your customers, you just find people a lot like them. Yeah, so that's coming. That'll probably roll into the public advertising tool early next year. So I'm going to spend the last wee while giving you just a few tips, and because I've got a really short time with you today, 20 minutes, it's not long enough to give you all the tips and tricks or teach you everything I know about Facebook, but I'm going to give you 4. So can I have a hand up in the audience if you currently have a Facebook page for your business? Good, I'm going to pretend that's all of you, but maybe 50%. Okay, after tonight I hope you will go out and create one. I actually saw there's a few companies back there who are advertising their social media services, so you might want to go and seek them out afterwards. There we go, somebody's waving in the back. So tip number 1. Get the right fans on your page. So when we launched fan pages about 4 or 5 years ago, whenever it was, it became a real vanity play. It was just like, we just want to get as many people on our page as possible, and we don't actually care if they're our current customers or not. It's the bad way to do it, because basically you end up with a whole lot of people on your page who are really unengaged with your brand. They cross out all your messaging and newsfeed, which affects your distribution, and you can't learn anything from them. The ideal fan page is to have your real customers, your most loyal customers, who you're going to engage with your messaging, who will share it with your friends, become advocates, and who you can learn from. Second tip is I always get asked, like, what do I talk about on Facebook? And what you talk about is really important because you're representing your business, but the other thing that's really important is that this is a social platform. It's all about engagement, and you need that content that you're publishing out to engage your audience. The reason why this is really important is because there's an algorithm in the newsfeed. So because we're all connected to so many pages and people and events and groups, newsfeed can get really cluttered. In fact, on average, most people would have about 10,000 pieces of content going through newsfeed a day if we didn't try and sort it for them. So there's an algorithm for newsfeed that tries to show everyone the most relevant content. Generally that's from friends, but also pages, anything else that you're connected to. Because, again, on average, people are connected to about 60 pages in New Zealand, it's harder and harder to be the most relevant piece of content going into newsfeed at that particular time. And the one piece of data that we have that the engineers use to work out whether that particular piece of content that you're publishing is relevant enough to get into somebody's audience, to their newsfeed, is engagement. So you need to create engagement in order to generate reach. So engagement on your post is important, but unfortunately, because it is so important, what's happened is that we've ended up with what we like to call stick a cat on it syndrome. And a lot of businesses now know that people love cats and they're going to share cats, so they just start posting photos of cats. That is a bad thing to do, because unless you're a pet food company or a cattery or something like that, it's probably not going to drive any business results for you, but you will get a few shares. That, by the way, I love that thing. It's called Grumpy Cat. It's an internet sensation. It's got about 3.5 million fans on Facebook, and it made the cover of the Wall Street Journal this year. So there's not any random cat that I've stuck up there. So what you need to do is align your publishing to business objectives. So all types of businesses are going to have different business objectives, but it might be that you want to build loyalty. So you want to reward your fans, you want to do giveaways, you want to do exclusive offers for your fan base, or maybe you just want to engage them or learn from them. A small business that I love following is actually a company in the UK, which is like a homeware design company, and they do Fan Photo Friday every Friday, and they set a theme and they get people to share their photos, and it's a really great way to reward their fans, and it generates huge amounts of engagement. Your business objective might be to be useful. You want to inform people about financial services or what's going on in the market. You might want to get your brand personality out there. You might want to drive traffic to your website. You might want to drive traffic in store. Whatever it is, make sure that your page fits in with your business objectives and design your content around there. It doesn't have to be one objective. Most of the big brands that we work with will have 3 content pillars or 3 different business objectives and rotate. So really important to align to business objectives if you actually want social media to affect your bottom line. The third thing is listening, and this is listening in a whole lot of ways. So I just talked about publishing content which is going to engage your audience but also aligns with your business objectives. So once you've developed your content strategy, look at our insights and actually work out what is engaging them. Listen to how people are actually responding, and then adapt your publishing to fit with what people are actually after. The second way about listening is getting your fans involved. So one of my friends owns Dollop Puddings, and they do a really good job about every time they're developing a new product, they post all their product ideas out on the page and they get feedback from their fans, like, do you prefer rice pudding or would you rather have like a custard and berry compote? And they get people to vote, and then that product goes into development. So it's a really nice way to do market research within your page. The other thing is it's just really handy to have that connection with your consumer. There's a lot of businesses out there who sell through third-party retailers and they never have a close relationship with their consumer, so they never actually learn about how people are feeling about their product. So it's nice just to be able to listen to how people feel about it, keep doing the good things, and take the bad if there's bad out there and make adjustments to your business. Okay, lastly, I think I'm getting the edits out. Is use all the learnings that you've got from the page, use all the learnings that you're getting from the likes of your page to grow your business, and use our targeting tools to go out and find more customers. When you're targeting and growing your business through our targeting sectors, you've already got this great group of loyal fans on your page where you can test out messages and works what resonates. Once you know what's working with your loyal customers already, then they're the types of messages that you should be shooting out to end up growing your business. So that is all I had time for, unfortunately. Hopefully I've managed to inspire you slightly about the scale and the opportunity that there is within Facebook. And this is just Facebook. There's other social media out there also, but we've got the biggest scale at the moment. So what I do encourage you to do is, if you want more tips, is go to the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, register for their newsletter. They are going to be, on a weekly basis, I'm going to be feeding case studies and tips through about small business success. And that's going to be going on their Facebook page and their blog and also in the newsletter as well, so sign up. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, so I've asked Claire if she'll stay and answer some questions. We've got a couple of microphones, so if you have a question, put your hand up, then everybody gets to learn too. And yes, over there.
I have a small business which is actually a wedding car limousine business with some great cars, by the way, if anyone's getting married. Right? And so can I target on Facebook those who are engaged?
Yes. So there's actually three targeting categories for engaged people on Facebook. You can target people who have been engaged for less than 6 months, so probably recently engaged, planning their wedding. Yeah, exactly. You can target people who have been engaged for under a year. Yep, or you can just target people who are engaged in general. So that is actually a really popular category for wedding, yeah. So on the flip side, there's quite a funny story about that, is that one of my clients in the UK was engaged, and for the year leading up to his wedding, he was bombarded with advertisements for photographers and flowers and all sorts of things. The day after his wedding, he switched his profile to married, and the first ad he got was from a divorce lawyer. Yeah. So the targeting can be a little bit too effective sometimes.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Did you have a question? over there.
Do you still have to use a third party to do competitions on Facebook?
No, I should have mentioned that. I was supposed to say that. Yeah, so for everyone who doesn't know, we used to have a rule where in order to run a competition or giveaway on Facebook, you used to have it to use a third-party app and collect data off-site. It was a whole legal thing. They actually about 3 or 4 weeks ago removed that requirement, so you can now run any type of competition on your page. So that could just be like, name this product, like this photo, comment, basically anything except share. You're not supposed to encourage people to share from your page in order to enter because it could get really spammy in newsfeed, but everything else goes. Really good for engagement as well. I talked about engagement and getting reach. If you are running competitions and getting people to like the content you're putting out, then you'll get more reach in newsfeed.
I wonder if you could comment on business-to-business marketing versus business-to-consumer marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've always traditionally been a very business-to-consumer marketing platform because you go on there in your spare time and you're connected to your friends, you're not necessarily connected to your business colleagues. So we're starting to ramp up our efforts in that area because even though it's really a consumer platform, everybody who works in business is also on there and there's opportunities to target them. So we do have now that small business cluster that you can target if you're after this SMEs. We're doing a bit of a push at the moment, which is sort of rolling around, you might not have seen it, but where we're getting people to fill in their roles and job titles, so just prompting people. The more data we get about that, you'll be able to go after specific roles within companies. And I think the biggest move we've done in terms of finding those audiences for SMBs is that custom audience that's coming out. So once you've got your cluster of your database of business to business, of your business prospects, then you can target them and you can also find people like them, so it's quite good for acquisition. So regardless of the fact that we're not strong in business to business at the moment, there's so many business to business companies on there, like using the page really as an information source and sort of becoming the experts in their field and getting people to kind of sign up and hear what you have to say. So it's still a really powerful platform.
What are your thoughts on using Facebook scheduling apps like Hootsuite and Buffer app? Would you recommend that? Like, would you recommend against that actually? Or would you?
I don't really have too much of an opinion either way. They're really, really good products. So for everyone who doesn't know, Facebook has got a lot of APIs, which means that a lot of developers can build tools on top of Facebook to allow easier management. So it could be easier advertising management, it could be just scheduling and monitoring posts, and there's all sorts of things like customer service apps that people build on top of it. I think they're really good if you've got a really big customer base, which is really difficult and unwieldy to use normally. You can actually schedule posts within the Facebook user interface now. You don't need to use a third party to do that. So sometimes the cost of those things outweighs the benefits if you don't have a massive reason to use it or a massive need for it. But I know that they do a lot of good work with a lot of big brands, but it depends on your business and the size of your business and the budgets.
Hi, this is a practical question really. I run a small business where I have a number of clients whose Facebook pages I manage and I do advertising for them. At which point, obviously it's kind of awkward having to book it all on my credit card. And then, so at which point do you sort of cross over into maybe having an account with Facebook, or what happens there?
Yeah, it's a really difficult, a lot of people ask for that, and it is a big need, and I'm sure that we're working on something. The problem at the moment is that we've got 1 million active advertisers at any given time, so the actual challenge of credit checks and creating, monitoring those accounts and chasing up invoicing is really impractical at that scale. So one of the things about Facebook is we're always looking at ways that we can scale out difficult problems like that. So I think it will come in the end. Yeah, it's just not around yet unless you're one of the big managed clients.
I think we'll take one more question. Thank you.
If you manage a page from your own personal profile, you don't want your clients potentially ending up being your friends and seeing you having a bit of a conversation with your mother-in-law, for example.
Real life scenario.
How do you separate your personal persona on Facebook versus your business your business communication that you want?
So you'd create a business page which is completely separate from your own personal profile, and I'd encourage everybody to do that. And a business page operates separately. They will never see that you're the admin. They never can, so they'll never even see you to be able to request to be your friend. If it's too late and you've got a lot of clients on there who are your friends, then you can actually create lists. So you can create a friend list of your client and just use privacy settings to exclude them from anything that you're posting or exclude them from things that you don't want to see. But yeah, create a page and keep it separate from your personal profile.
I've got a question for
Okay.
you. So what I noticed when we did a hand held up was that at least half the room didn't have a business
Disappointing.
Facebook page.
Yeah.
So for half the room, where would they start tomorrow?
Well, you can start by signing up to the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, because that's where we're going to be able to be posting all the tips and tricks about how to do this. But actually, if you just want to go home tonight and have a play around, if you go to the very bottom of the Facebook homepage, you'll see a link that says create a page, and then you just follow the steps. It's very easy. And there's also a link there that says create an advert, and you can go into that tool, put in a dummy URL, and then go in and you'll see all of our different targeting options, and you can have a play around there with the targeting as well. But I will be posting all of those tips and to-do guides through the Chamber of Commerce in the next few months.
Brilliant. Everybody, please join me in thanking Claire.